My goodness, I got this one little.
Watch as I groom my
palette
hair.
going on. The worst.
Oh, it looks great.
All right, there you go.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Tales from the Barside. Quarantine still. We're keeping our social distance, but we are definitely hanging out with you in spirit, in virtual time. I'm Remy. This is my lovely co-host, Lauren.
Hi.
How's it going, everybody? And today we were talking about what the hell are we going to talk about? We don't have a guest, so I'm like, well, what about drinking games? Everybody loves drinking games, right? And
everybody has a good story about drinking games is what it really is.
And nobody's been going out to the bars lately, so what else are you going to do but sit home and play some fun drinking games? So maybe we'll play a drinking game with you guys tonight. Maybe not. Who knows? I put it out there on Facebook to see what everybody had to say, and we got the usual flip cup.
Well, and keep in mind, I mean, it's been interesting. There's like a whole new, almost like cottage industry, like a little niche industry that sprouted up for drinking games while in quarantine.
Yeah, exactly. We played Cards Against Humanity online one night. That was pretty fun.
Oh, yeah.
That was kind of a good drinking game.
Yeah.
That's a good one. But yeah, Flip Cup. Everybody loves Flip Cup, right? That's a fun one. If you're dexterous with the fingers, good at that game.
I'm really bad at that game.
Are you?
Yeah, I'm so bad at it.
Maybe you need to work out your fingers a little bit more.
Yeah, I guess so.
Get one of those little guitar like stretchy things, you know?
Oh my God. My tiny little hands. I'm just so tiny.
Tiny little hands. You should be good at it then. So my buddy commented the Joe Buck drinking game. When you're watching a ball game that Joe Buck is commentating, every time he says something stupid, you take a shot. You'll be wasted in no time.
Oh, perfect.
The Joe Buck hater game. That's a good one. Not a huge fan of his either. But that's
any press conference where the phrase "new normal" is used.
Oh my God.
No.
Jeez, oh Pete.
Hammered. I mean, a good drinking game has you drinking a lot, but not like so much that you just like can't even keep up. Like you don't want to get sick.
It when you get so fucked up so quick that you're just like, I'm not even having fun anymore. This lasted like 10 minutes and now we're all screwed up.
Right. Or, you know, if you're drinking beer to play a game, you get so full of beer really quick and you just feel all like bloated and gross. I guess drinking games are kind of kid stuff, but whatever. Like we remember them fondly, right? We've all had good times. I remember learning how to play quarter bounce when I was a youngster. And
also really bad at that.
Yeah, not good at the quarters.
No.
It's funny with that one. Like I tend to be better the drunker I am. Like with most drinking games, you know, you get better with time as it goes on. But what are you sipping on there in the fancy glass tonight there, Lauren?
Wine. It's always wine. It's the only thing that I can drink and I don't get a hangover, like at all.
All right.
Like I wake up tomorrow and I'm just like, yes.
Fresh as a
Sun
daisy.
is shining, going out. Like, no, I can't do that with anything else. Like I drink beer, I feel like shit the next day.
Yeah.
Or if I drink like liquor, then I'm like puking the entire next day. So
See, I never understood that because I've never been the one to throw up the next day. If I'm throwing up, it's the night of because I drank too much. And I've definitely done that a lot, but not recently. But never had the like feeling sick the next day. You know, feel hungover, but not sick. So I don't envy that. I don't envy that at all. That kind of sucks. But no, I get you. Hey, wine, if wine is fine, then you just do your thing, girl. Nobody's mad at you.
I do love me some wine.
I do too. Are you having red or white? I can't tell because of the glass.
So normally I drink red, but right now I have like 4 bottles of white Zen that I need to like power through.
Get it. Fancy stuff. A little sweet wine.
Super sweet. Yeah. It's not actually super sweet, but it's like, you know, I really like my reds dry.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Sweet for me.
It's sweet enough. I hear you. So quarter bounce and flippy bunch. We could always just play like a game of Never Have I Ever while we're sitting here talking.
I hate that game because I have.
While live, I don't know about that.
Yeah, right. Never Have I Ever live.
No, thank you. I'm pretty sure I'll have some angry messages from my boyfriend.
Right.
What are you talking about, girl?
So if he's listening, by the way, hi. We're keeping it.
He's always listening.
That's good.
One day you will meet.
Jamie Flanagan popped on and left you guys a comment and said, "Hey, have a great show, you two."
Hey, thank you.
Thanks, Jamie. We appreciate that, buddy.
We love you, Jamie.
We do indeed. Love them, love them, love them. We love all of our friends. Shout out to my buddy Chris, who's probably listening. And shout out to our buddy Murph, who's probably listening. Good to see you guys. It was good to see Chris anyways this weekend. I went out to the bar this weekend.
Did
for the
you?
First time. Yeah, I went out on Friday night with my good buddy Chris. And it was fun. The bars weren't too packed that we went to. We were downtown. And so it felt good to kind of be out and mingling. But it was also so many people not wearing masks that was really sketching me out.
I have not gone to any bars, and that's the reason why I'm so nervous.
Everybody's just kind of, there's nothing wrong with being nervous and scared. I mean, there's a global pandemic that's still going on. It has not gone away. And, my thing is I go everywhere and people aren't wearing masks. You go to the grocery store, people aren't wearing masks. You go to regular
Even
store.
the places that say you must have a mask to come in here, they're not stopping people. Funny enough, GameStop was definitely making sure that people were wearing masks inside of there. I went there to pick up my Switch. Oh my gosh. Sorry, guys.
It's all right. No, I'm finding that
a friend of ours works at a bank, and it was funny because she was kind of complaining that this memo went out. The bank lobbies were opening up today, and they said, hey, mask use is mandatory. Well,
right.
But unless someone has a medical condition that prevents them from wearing a mask, or if they put up too much of a fight and become combative about it, don't worry about it. So then it's not mandatory. Nice. That's not. You keep using that word. I do not think it means what you think it means. Mandatory is mandatory. That means you got it.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing too. It's like, oh, it'll be fine, and then you get COVID and die. It's a life or death thing here. So it's kind of frustrating when you see people out there and they're not wearing them, and you're like, do you just not care if you kill somebody? Do you just not? Well,
and let's assume you survive. Did you guys catch the story about the guy who survived, and his medical bill was essentially the size of a book? It was 130 some odd pages long.
Jesus.
$1.1 million and change.
You could buy a nice used car for that.
Because the charge for his isolation room was $6,000 a day.
Sure.
The charge for the ventilator unit was $1,100 a day. The charge for that, and $1.1 million.
That is insane. How is anyone supposed to pay that? Does he not have any? Insurance doesn't cover any of that, or he didn't have insurance?
So that was his statement. So he has insurance and that kind of stuff.
Oh, okay.
But
that's just how much it costs in general.
Well, but here's who's going to wind up paying for that: you and I, because that kind of stuff will get reflected back in actuarial tables and premiums that come down the road. Not to mention his deductibles and stuff all got waived because the government has those incentive programs out, so that's taxpayer funded. So yeah.
Jesus, I need a drink.
Yeah. I don't even know what $1.1 million looks like.
Yeah, me neither.
Oh my God. I can barely tell you what $200 looks like.
Drink every time you hear.
We can fix that
coronavirus story out, right?
Yes, that's one of those stories that we have on deck for our show tonight later. Because that's insane to me. But then again, I've been saying this for years now the entire healthcare / insurance industry just needs to get burned to the ground and start it over, because
throw it all away.
It's not about healthcare; it's about profits, and we all know it. And just die, just shut up and go away already.
Right.
Well, and that's what happens, unfortunately, to a lot of Americans. It's you work hard, you save, you do what you have to, and you think you've got the best insurance, and then something comes along. Oh, sorry, we don't cover that. You're screwed. Just go and die.
Or the stereotypical insurance move of everything is denied at first until you fight it.
Right.
Because they're just waiting to see if you're going to fight it or not.
Right.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Didn't they make a TV show about some guy with cancer who ended up having to sell meth to pay for it? It was a pretty popular show, I'm thinking.
Yeah. Who knew that was a documentary?
the whole thing was
Right.
basically like it was a slap in the face to the medical industry, just saying
Oh my
like, you
God.
guys, this is what good, honest, school teaching Americans have to go through just to survive. It worked out all right for him.
I was I picked up one of my friends from the bar on, I think, Saturday night or something. He called me and was like, "Hey, I'm stranded, come get me." So I came up there, and I just noticed as I was going down Woodward that so many of the bars were packed. I mean, packed. And I was like, what happened to the like 50% capacity? And like, I noticed a couple of bars, I won't say the names of them, that were more like nightclubs, and they were open. And I was like, I feel like nightclubs shouldn't be open yet. Like at a bar, you can sit down. There's places to sit. Where like a nightclub, it's a lot of standing room, or you have to pay to sit. You know what I mean?
How are you going to enforce it? How are you going to make people stay in 6 feet away?
Yeah, it made me really worried to see some of these like nightclubs open to the public and stuff. I mean, if you're able to do it, I understand you guys are trying to make your money, all that stuff. I totally get it. I'm not trying to like bash anybody for what they're doing, but it's just like, I would be worried about going to a nightclub right now. And I work in nightclubs.
Oh, I'm worried about going anywhere right now.
Right.
Yeah, anywhere.
Right. I mean, you guys know me. You know how much I love bars. Like the closest I've come is, so good old Larry, favorite bartender down at Temple Bar, has been live streaming his shifts. And so I've been taking over their jukebox while he's live streaming, just so that he runs back to the phone to go, damn it, Dave.
Right.
Because he knows if the Never Ending Story starts playing, that's me doing it.
You've been in there.
Yes. I can't wait till I work at a bar that has a jukebox. I hope you take it over all the time. Seriously, I'll be waiting.
Well, that's the other thing. Both Lauren and I, our bars aren't open. Like I went back in to help my owner out and do a little inventory and stuff, but he's not quite ready to open. And it's more of a restaurant with a bar. So, I do serving and bartending there. But your nightclub isn't open yet.
And I have no idea. From what I understood, nightclubs were being considered indoor venues, right? Same as like concert venues.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So, I'm sorry?
Interesting.
Yeah, that's just what I thought. I could be wrong, but that's what I understood it to be, because I noticed that Orchid wasn't open. Obviously my bar, Boogie, was not open. And I don't think City Club was open. Like there's a whole bunch of nightclubs that I know were not open. So when I saw one that I would consider a nightclub open downtown, I was like, there's something that's not
I'm wondering,
right.
is there a licensing differentiation? And I truly don't know, between a bar / restaurant / or a nightclub.
Well, yeah, I think so. I think that a Class C is what you need, I think, for a nightclub. I actually don't know, but I do have the perfect person to ask, and I will ask him that.
Yes, I'm just curious.
Corrections.
I'm just wondering if they're trying to use that loophole of, hey, we're a bar, therefore we're opening and opening and trying to make money again. I mean, I could see that going. I just don't know if it's if it's a licensing difference. Because then again, I mean, I had a bunch of friends that were bartending in places around the area, and not one of them mentioned anybody from a health department or anything stopping by.
Right.
And I could be wrong on that. It might be all you need is a liquor license, and then you can do whatever you want. But I'm pretty sure that I thought at least that you had to have like an entertainment license to have like DJs and stuff. Like if you're going to do like strictly just DJs.
I think it comes down to what's going on in your city, like a city ordinance kind of thing. And
I have no clue.
I
could be making that up. I have no clue.
I know my old nightclub is open, the one that I used to work at, but they're a sports bar that also has a kitchen and does food all the time, and it's just Friday and Saturday night.
They have a kitchen, but a nightclub that doesn't really have doesn't have a kitchen. How would that be different? You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying is like they're probably using the thing that it's like we have a kitchen, so we serve food, so we're a restaurant. We're also a sports bar. Technically we consider ourselves a sports bar, but on Friday and Saturday night, it's 2 floors and over 1,000 people nightclub.
And this one, I know for a fact doesn't have a kitchen though. Like it's just a nightclub. So I'm like, I don't know how they're open. I mean, if they're able to be open, more power to them. Get your money. I totally understand. I wish that my nightclub was open, but
Well, and the worst part is, so like I was talking to one buddy who was, he was, bartending downtown at a pretty popular spot, usually, and it was, he said basically, yeah, some people were out, but the crowds were pretty lame. Tips were shit. He was still dealing with people walking out on taps,
Oh my
Jesus.
God.
even with as few people out as there were. And he said, at one point, the door guy turned to him and said, "Hey, dude, I'm just going to start letting people in, even if they don't have masks, because I just turned away 7 people." And he was like, "No, you're not doing
Yeah.
that. Screw off."
Right. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like money is one thing, but I don't care if I make $2,000 on a Friday night. If I get COVID and die, it's
Right.
not going to do me much.
And wind up with a $1.1 million hospital bill.
Right, exactly. Who's going to pay my
Yeah,
hospital bill?
that's the thing, is I couldn't work long enough to pay off $1.1 million.
No, I'm not going to make that in my lifetime unless I win the lottery. It's just not going to happen, Well, you never know.
But yeah, I mean, so like, and it is. I mean, that's the thing that really shocked me is I would have hoped / thought / I believed that people going out now were going to be the ones who had the most pent up, demand for it, had the most like pent up need to go out, and
Right.
would get it, and would be the like, dude, like I sat downstairs and like fired up Go Tip 'em again after I started
Yeah.
hearing those
Right.
stories for people, because I'm like, dude,
You know
like,
I'm on there, right?
no, actually, I didn't know that.
Hint, hint.
So yeah, like, and I'm like, dude, I'm like, I can't even believe that that's a thing, because like, dude, God help my wallet the first time I set foot in a bar again, because
Yeah.
dude, I'm gonna, I don't know, insert stereotypical athlete here, walking into a bar.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and so I've been following, the bartender pages on Facebook. Our good friend, the Angry Bartender, has been posting a lot of stuff lately about people acting like Karens, people acting like total garbage.
Dude, I loved the one where it was some girl that sat down at a restaurant and said, I'll take a water but with no ice because I'm sure you're not following COVID guidelines. Like, I had no idea that the Karens were back out and reloaded with an arsenal of new bullshit.
I never even saw that one. I've been like watching his stuff like closely, and like seriously, I never even saw that one.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Why
Like
would
your
you
ice
even
cubes
come
are
out then? If that's what you're concerned about, why are you coming out?
Right,
And why are you
yeah.
forcing me to have to be here then?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's the thing, because like, like I said, that one guy I was talking to, okay, great. His bar was open. And so, he worked I think it was a 12 or 13-hour shift.
Yeah.
And it wasn't worth it at all for him to be. It's okay, yay, it's good to kind of get back into the groove of things. Like, dude, I'm not gonna lie, like, I'm looking forward to getting back into the swing of things with the, getting the studios reopened and all that shit starting next week.
That's totally different though. The studios, like, I mean, you do have a lot of precautions you have to take though with
but
the
not only that, but I
and
mean,
everything.
even with like, I'm gonna be slow about bringing the engineers back, just because I mean, I'm gonna throw myself in front of that bullet until I can't anymore.
Right.
And kind of like when we had our, when we opened our first studio and first launched the network, when it gets to be, when the number of shows exceeds the capacity at which I can manage, cool. Then, I'll start bringing them back. But I'm also, that's why we're starting with the Northville and Detroit locations, because they're single studio locations. It's easier crowd control. It's easier to manage and maintain.
You don't have 5 shows going on.
Well, yeah, I mean, shit, you guys have seen Royal Oak on a Monday night when there's 4 studios running. I mean, it's insane.
Exactly. Well, and just putting this out there for you right now, buddy, if you need us to switch our schedule up at any point to make it easier on you, you just let us know.
I'm literally not doing anything.
Right? It's like, we can adjust. It's no problem. Here's my thing.
And honestly, so like you guys are one of the ones that I'm probably least concerned about, because you're a smaller show, and even when you have a guest in, there are 4 people in the studio.
Right.
So it's not that big of a deal. We have some shows that are, that have 8 people in the studio, and some of them that don't even pay attention to that. And suddenly there's like 10 or 12. So I'm going to be like, that's my whole thing is I've been chatting with the engineers and that kind of stuff. Like and even the show hosts now, where I'm going to be neurotic about it. Like now that I know, like, dude, I can put this Zoom up on this TV in a heartbeat.
Right.
And I just got I got all the equipment. Amazon just delivered it today to install that on all the TVs and all the studios. So when we come back, it's probably going to be show hosts and maybe one guest, depending on how many of you there are, and then
Right.
because the TVs are there.
Yeah.
You can. It's and I'm sorry if that doesn't work, but hey, that I'm not taking that risk, and I don't want you. I don't want anybody else to either.
Yeah, it's fine by us. I don't mind doing it on Zoom. This has been fun. It's been way different. There's a different feel. And my buddy who listens all the time said, he's like, your show is different now that it's on Zoom and going live with video instead of the way it was back then. But it's okay, so it evolves.
Absolutely.
It's a lot easier for me to talk about more personal things when we're recording versus when we are on actual Zoom, because I'm this is on my Facebook, and my grandma is on there, and my dad is on there,
Hi,
and my
Nana.
mom is on there. They're all, and I watch them. I'll see their names pop up, Renee Walker is watching, and I'm just oh God, hi Dad. Please don't say anything about banging in a fucking office or something.
I love the Chelsea from Reasons Why I'm Single. Probably at least once every other episode, she'll be in the middle of telling a story and she'll just be like, "Oh my God, hold on, wait, sorry, Dad," and then she'll go on.
Yeah,
that's how I feel. Seriously, it's insane. It's intense. I'll see their names pop up, and I'm just all right, what are we about to talk about?
Right.
I'm not exactly the black sheep of my family. I'm not exactly the black sheep of my family, but I think nothing that I do would surprise anybody in my family either. I've done some wild and crazy shit in my day. They're kind of yeah, we accept it.
I think for me,
and if they don't, so be it.
I think for me, I am kind of a little bit the black sheep of the family. I'm just the more outgoing, they're all family, have families and settled down and, kids and all that stuff. And I'm just
yeah,
I don't have kids.
So
I'm going out drinking. I work at a bar, exactly. I'm the cool one. And, and so it's okay, they don't really, I don't think that they would be shocked by anything that they heard. But I think they'd be
but it's not necessarily anything they need to know.
I didn't need to know that. Right, exactly.
I could have gone my whole life with that.
My mom has pictures from my fetish modeling stuff in her hallway.
Okay, that's amazing.
She
Cheers,
loves
Mom.
that stuff. It's great. Yeah, thanks, Mom. She has that stuff in her hallway. My dad is aware of that and everything. He doesn't want to see it. He doesn't care to hear about it. But he isn't in my face being you should stop or anything.
Oh, listen here, you.
But I don't want him to
And my whole thing is, I'm just going to be true to myself, and if you can't handle it, that's your problem.
Right.
I am who I am. I tell the stories that I do. I've been doing this show for a while now, and if it comes out, it comes out. If it embarrasses somebody, so be it.
So I guess
I'm not too worried about losing jobs.
Here's a good question. So I guess, and it would be kind of different for each of you. Because Lauren, you're kind of in the same boat I am. So Lauren, what's going to make you comfortable to go out to a bar? And Remy, what was the switch that flipped that you went, okay, yeah, I'm going out tonight?
Going out, right. Remy, you go first.
I honestly, it was funny. The last person I went out to a bar and hung out with was my buddy Chris. And same with him. And he's like, man, this is the last time we went out. It was the last time before you could go out, and now we're out the first time that you really can. And we'd given it a week or so. I just, I hadn't seen my buddy in a while. I hadn't seen him all of quarantine. He's been safe and careful and not sick. And so I was like, yeah, it's cool to hang out with him. So we hung out at his place for a couple of beers and just shot the shit. And then a friend of ours was working right across the street. So we went to see her, and the bar was kind of busy, but over on one side, and we were over on the complete opposite side, but still,
Gotcha.
People were not wearing masks. And I'm like, here's the thing. You go out to a bar and there's 20 people, and one of them has COVID and gives it to everybody else. You go out to a bar and there's 80 people and nobody has COVID. It's not necessarily you've got a better chance of somebody having it the more people there are, but you could be hanging out with 4 people or 5 people. If one of them's got it, you're all going to get it. That's what scares the hell out of me.
That's the challenge. Is you look at the regulations that came out, and you you only have to wear a mask when you're walking in, and then basically,
Right.
once you're seated, you can take it off. But if you get up and walk around, you're supposed to put it back on, which I think is where a lot of that is going to fall down.
Okay, so that brings me to the whole nightclub thing again. If you have to be wearing a mask unless you're seated, then how are they having nightclubs open without people wearing masks?
Right. You shouldn't be.
How is that happening?
But the whole point is that you shouldn't be, but they are.
And okay, and to answer your question, what would make me comfortable? I'm not exactly sure like what the exact turning point would be for me that I'm like, I want to go out. I think
if I get Ming back in town and we're hitting Hamtramck, you're coming out.
Yeah, I'll probably come out. Yeah, you're right. I'll probably come out. Okay,
you hear that, Ming? She loves you.
There's special occasions that I would go out for. Like I went to my friend's son's birthday party yesterday, and there was only like 6 adults and like 5 kids, and they specifically asked me to come, and I used to babysit him. So yeah. I was like, all right. And it was outdoors and nobody was like hugging each other. Nobody was, so I felt comfortable. And then I don't know. I think that it's just, I keep on seeing all these things about the places that opened up before us are having these huge spikes.
Florida.
And Florida. Yeah. I am just not interested in going out until that is like done here.
They've had what, 6 or 7 record-setting days now, including days up over a couple thousand. So yeah.
Well, and I know people who went to Florida for vacation.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
and the other part of it, like I'm looking at, because again, I'm looking at it in my own context. Like, okay, great. I've got the no-touch digital thermometers, on their way. They're supposed to be here Wednesday, and that's part of the reason why we didn't open today, was because those got delayed. And but that's one of those things where, I'll be honest, that's almost more of a touchy-feely PR move than it is anything accurate, because, all the conversations we've had with Fred Brown on our show, you may not be sporting a temperature if you have it.
Right. You could have 0 symptoms.
And so that's not really an indicator. But on the other hand, God forbid we don't do anything like that. And then somebody hops on social media, the Podcast Detroit guys aren't doing shit about COVID. They're not trying to keep anybody safe. Because that'll happen.
Or even not even that. Let's spin it the good way. Say somebody's feeling fine and you scan them and you're like, whoa, dude, you've got a temperature of 100.6. We can't do it. Turns out they've got COVID. You saved everybody from, possibly catching it. It's
even if
it can help.
Even if it's not COVID, even if it's, hey, you've just got a head cold, or you've got, the normal flu, or you've got, whatever else. It's not it's not an indicator of having COVID. It's like I said, to me, it's almost more of a weird touchy-feely PR move than it is an actual thing. But why? But what's the harm in doing it? Like, yeah, exactly. There's no downside to doing it. So cool.
Well,
I was going to ask you guys, did you see that in Ann Arbor they were shut down? I think it was Liberty. They shut down Liberty Street and made it into like outdoor patio area for all the places over there. And one thing that I saw was that Necto was doing, like, they have an outdoor bar and an outdoor DJ, and then the bar itself, the actual nightclub, is open just for the bathrooms. So I was like, that's kind of cool.
That's what Detroit Shipping Company is doing too. As they're getting ready to reopen, is they've basically all said, they've said, hey, it's basically going to be, service only. You're not going to be walking up to the bar. It's going to be, there's table, we've got all these new tables outside, and in the outdoor, courtyard and all that stuff. And, no, because and again, it's like, again, like putting in my own context, like I'm not going to be restocking the fridge, the bar, the cabinets and all that stuff. At least not for a little bit, in the Royal Oak Studios, because I want to cut down on those common contamination points, like the probable risk of contamination areas. And so it's
come in, do your show, and leave. Like it's not a hangout place.
No more hanging out in the lobby and waiting for Dave to come out and be like, shh.
And I mean,
No
that
more
was
of
a
that.
fun part of going to the studio, but it's like, that's a very small sacrifice to make sure that people.
Well, yeah, because I mean, and that's the other part. I mean, even as big as that building is, it's still a small building, and it's still,
Oh, yeah.
It's like, I think I might have told you guys this. Like, I was talking with a show host a couple weeks ago, and she was giving me a really hard time about not having the studios open again yet. And I said, look, let me put this in the simplest terms I can. How comfy are you going to be if you're in one of those small, soundproof, mostly airtight rooms and
Right.
someone sneezes? How you going to feel? And
Yeah.
she was dead quiet and went, "Oh, yeah, I hadn't really
Hard
thought about
pass.
it that way." And I'm like, "Well, that's why I'm running the company and you're not."
And here's the thing, it's like, if you cough, it hangs in the air for a little bit.
Yep.
And stuff like it's stuff you can't see. There's just no good answers. And honestly, the best thing is for every single person to be wearing a mask, I think, and like no excuses kind of stuff. But yet I've been around other people without masks on, in the past month or so. I definitely could have picked it up from, who knows? It would be hard to trace all the people that I've come in contact with who weren't wearing a mask. It's just
Right.
Is everybody just kind of flippant about the mask, or over? You go into some places and everybody's wearing a mask, and it's just normal. Or you go to a gas station and half the people are wearing a mask and half the people aren't, and stuff like that.
Did I love who it was? Nick Britsky posted something earlier today, and he's like a completely non-scientific poll, but here I am in the store, and 99% of the people that aren't wearing masks are male, and 76% of them respond when I yell "bruh."
Yep.
But no, I get you. Like, I went to Lowe's not too long ago to pick up some stuff. I did an internet order and went to go pick it up, and apparently their curbside delivery is not curbside delivery. You actually have to go in and pick it up still. So when I was walking in to pick it up, that's one of the things I noticed. Like, literally everybody was wearing a mask. Even the employee that was running carts, and this made me laugh so hard. Dude basically had like a Doctor Who scarf wrapped around his head, and I was like, all right, you get an A for effort, Skippy. That,
Right,
at least you're trying. At least you're doing something. But then same thing. Like, I stop at 7-Eleven. Nobody's wearing a mask. That isn't an employee.
Not the cashiers.
No, the employees
there.
are. The employees absolutely are, but nobody that's in there is.
I've been to a dozen places where the employees are not wearing masks either. And it's just okay, I guess nobody cares. Awesome.
Well, and so that was a buddy of mine went out last Monday when the bars opened, and so he was out hopping around, and I said, okay, so hey, what's the scoop? What's going on? I heard this, I heard that. He's like, dude, nothing's changed. And I said, oh, really? And I said, because this particular place he was at there was an article about them opening up that day, and I said, well, I read that they basically took half the seats out of the place. And it's supposed to be, if you don't have a seat, you can't be in there. You got to wait outside, and yada yada. And it's supposed to be isolating and distancing and all that stuff. And his response was, I don't know. Let me ask this random stranger that's sitting a foot away from me on a bar stool that's also not wearing a mask, and see how that goes. Okay.
Yeah, there's parts of the population that are like freaked out, panicked. I'm not leaving my house yet. I'm still just no. Not going anywhere without a mask, and not going to be, in contact with anybody. And then there's other people who are just coronavirus, what? No, that's a big hoax, no mask, no nothing, I don't care.
Well, and some people think it's a political statement.
Yeah.
Right.
If you wear a mask, you're making a political statement. No.
Or if you don't, you are. Oh, well, because it's well, if you're wearing a mask, you must be a liberal. And if you're not wearing a mask, you must be a Trump supporter. Dude, okay, coronavirus doesn't care about
wear the fucking mask.
Yeah, coronavirus doesn't care about politics.
Well, coronavirus doesn't, but that's an interesting take and a good point, because it's since Trump has refused to wear a mask the whole time, it's almost like he's telling his supporters, hey, I'm not wearing one. I'm just saying.
Not that I love getting political, but did you hear this story about his visit to the swab manufacturing plant?
The what?
No, I did not.
So he went to a plant that manufactures the testing swabs.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And refused to wear a mask. And because he refused to wear a mask, the entire production run that was running while he was walking through the facility.
Had to be thrown away?
Had to be thrown away.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Come on.
All right, so here's a good drinking game. Every time a politician, I'm just gonna say a generalized statement, a politician does something so fucking stupid that you can't even believe it, you gotta take a drink.
You know what? And I'll be equal opportunity. Let's not forget the Democrats with their Wakanda Forever pose.
Oh my God.
Or as I like to call it, Black Pander.
We got ourselves a good drinking game, folks. You stuck through till the end, you get the goods. We've delivered.
But yeah, I mean,
that was so bad. So bad. And I mean,
terrible.
I read that the tribe that was from was known to be the ones that like sold other people into slavery.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
You tried to pander so hard and you fucked it up.
Yeah. Well, like I said, the person I feel the worst for is probably the poor cashier at the Museum of African American History on the mall, who was going, why the hell are all these congressional aides stopping in and buying shit? Like, and then seeing that photo up and going, oh Christ.
Oh, God. I honestly threw up in my mouth a little when I saw that picture of them like kneeling down with their fists up. It was like, you're so obvious. You're so blatantly like.
Yeah, everyone knows what you're doing. Everyone. Your
biggest supporters are rolling their eyes right now.
Oh yeah, but so I guess to take a step back, I mean, so like with me, like to get me out in bars, honestly, it's probably going to happen this week. Like, so just because I know I'm going to be downtown a lot, getting that studio reconfigured and up and ready to go for shows starting next week. So I'm sure I'm going to be popping over to Temple Bar at some point. I'll probably
let us know when you do.
Oh, for sure. And I'll likely, pop into Hamtramck and, see the whiskey crew and that kind of stuff and see who's there. I won't be insane about it. Like, dude, there are friends that my Facebook feed is like basically going on a virtual pub crawl with them every day. Like that's what they've been doing every day, is visiting at least 6 or 7 bars every day. And I'm like, I mean,
my God,
God love you, and I understand it, but no, like that's
and I really hope that none of you are sick, because then you're taking your sickness to 6 different bars and infecting everybody there. I'm gonna get myself one of those reusable like metal straws and just start drinking beer from a straw with my mask on. Like, if I'm gonna go out to the bar, I'm gonna wear the mask the whole time and just like stick the straw up underneath it, be sipping on my beer, drinking it through a straw. Like, I don't care. I've got to the point where I'm like, I need to wear the mask all the time. And if everybody else doesn't, then that's their problem.
Well, no, honestly, so that's what defeats the purpose. So, and this was a big topic of conversation that we had last Monday night with Fred, was you're not wearing a mask for you. It has nothing to do with protecting you, because like the cloth masks that we're wearing, like the N95 masks that have filtration systems and stuff like that, that's a whole different ballgame.
Right.
Like the cloth masks don't stop anything from coming in. It's more to stop stuff from going out.
Yes,
so,
exactly.
So the whole point is that, and I think there was some study I saw that came out today that said basically if 80%, because then you start talking about herd immunity and all that kind of stuff. If 80% of the population would just effing wear masks,
all the time,
would go away.
Yeah,
like it would fizzle out.
And that's why I'm going to wear my mask with like a straw. I'm not trying to protect myself. I'm not scared for myself so much as I am like, if I happen to be asymptomatic and carrying, I don't want to get everybody else sick, but I still want to go out and see my friends. So I'm going to wear the mask. I'm going to get a straw. I advise at least 80% of our listeners tonight to do the same thing, please. And
please.
I mean, if everybody would get on board with this, if just 80% of the population would get on board with it, we could probably get rid of COVID and not have the second and third waves that they're talking
I feel like 80% of the population should not be hard to come up with. Like, I feel like 80% of the population should be like, wear a fucking mask.
Lauren,
you would think,
guess what the percentages are. Guess what the percentages are for voting. Guess
exactly.
Yeah, you're right. I know. I get it.
But here's the way I look at it.
We can't even get to go out and effing
wishful
vote.
thinking, guys. I'm
really
trying really hard.
Have you seen the way people drive in Metro Detroit lately?
Yeah, right.
It's fucking insane,
dude. So Tammy posted something earlier. Apparently, the Dearborn Heights Police Department actually posted a release that posted a press release that said, "Look, we've gotten so many complaints about the way people are driving. We are stepping up our patrols and increasing the number of polo, stops and all that kind of stuff." Because, dude, I think what was it? I think it was, like a month ago or whenever it was that I went down to Detroit City Distillery to pick up that bourbon. I was on 94, and like 94, once it turns to 55, you usually have like varying clumps of cars that are going about like 62, 63 miles an hour. And we all kind of hover there. Dude, I was in the middle lane doing 75 in a clump of cars, and people were flying by in the fast lane like we were standing still. And I'm like, if this is 94, what the hell is 696 like? Because 696 has always been the goddamn Autobahn.
It's a racetrack.
Right.
I got a good story for that, as a matter of fact. I went golfing with my brother last weekend, and I was coming home, and he lives downriver, so I'm taking 75, and I do the loop through Detroit, and I'm heading out to my area. And as soon as I get done with the loop, and I'm doing about 65, which is speeding in that area. It's supposed to be 55,
right?
But I'm doing about 65 because I'm going with the flow of traffic. 65, and I see in my rearview mirror, zooming across 3 lanes, a brand new Dodge Challenger, and they had to have been doing 95, every bit of 95. They flew past me. Then there's construction up ahead, and you can see where there's brake lights, and you can see there's like orange cones and stuff like that. So I get up about a mile up the road, and there is that Dodge Challenger pulled over on the side, smashed front end, rear-ended somebody because they couldn't control it. And so, I drive by and I see 2 people getting out of their cars. I'm like, oh, yeah, there goes that brand new Challenger. Like, just saw you a second ago, smashed up front end. I get all the way out by my house, 11 mile or so, and the traffic goes down to 2 lanes again. Same Challenger with the smashed front end goes flying past me again doing 95 miles an hour. They apparently were not waiting for the police.
Damn, yeah, they just took the fuck off. Holy shit.
Just took the fuck off. I was like, well, just glad it wasn't me. Glad they didn't smash into me. But no, every single morning now, people are just in such a hurry, flying, not caring what lane they're in, switching lanes, not paying attention to who's changing lanes or whatever. Just get out of my way.
I saw 3 accidents yesterday. I was going to pick up my friend from fucking Belle Isle. I was picking up my friend from Belle Isle, and literally we drove by 3 accidents in like a 20-minute span.
Well, I mean, everybody forgets winter to winter what snow is like. So, I mean, they've been locked down for 3 months. Nobody remembers how to freaking drive. So, yeah.
Even though it's snowing like 9 months out of the year.
Right.
It seems like. I just think, people just have a lead foot and no care or concern for anybody else, which is why there's so many people not wearing masks. That was
and that's my thing. I mean, for the longest time, the cops weren't pulling a lot of people over.
Right.
Because, I mean, I'm sure they had their own level of fear, when it came to, close-up personal interactions with people and all that kind of crap.
Yeah.
And, so it's like, all right, well, hey, guess what? I guess here's a little look at what defund the police looks like.
Yeah, people aren't going to police themselves. That's for sure.
No.
I would I'm the type of driver that I set the cruise control most of the time on the freeway right at 70, right at the speed limit, so that because honestly, I have no desire to interact with police at all. Like, I don't want to get pulled over. I don't want to get hassled. I'm legal. I'm legit. I've got insurance. All the stuff is good. But I don't want to get pulled over. I don't need a 5-mile-an-hour ticket over. I don't need any of that bullshit. So I'm just trying to get to work safely or get wherever I'm going safely. But I would love to see a bigger police presence on the freeways. Just, every couple of miles on 696, just stick a cop car. Doesn't even have to be anybody in it. Because if you see the cop car, people are hitting their brakes and slowing down. Just slow everybody the fuck down, please.
Or if you have Waze, then there's like a little thing that says cop ahead.
Speed. Well, so that's what I understand. Like, dude, if I were a cop, I would be firing up the Google Maps and Waze apps and just like every couple miles, like flagging speed trap. Because, dude, like as soon as if I'm driving along and I hear it, and then all of a sudden I'm like, wait, why is everybody starting to slow down ahead of me? And then I'll get up there and I'm like, oh, and speed trap ahead.
So that's all they have to do. It's like, the whole point is not to And that's the problem with it, is the cops are just out there trying to make money by giving tickets to people. They really don't give two shits if you're going fast or not. Whereas the rest of us who are just trying to drive and get to work like normal sane people and not die are like, can you please slow everybody down a little bit? Because they're making me nervous. Anyways, man, we got off on politics tonight. We got off on all kinds of shit. I need a drink. Anybody else need a drink? Shots?
I always need a drink.
Let's do shots. We were talking drinking games. We were talking bars reopening. A bunch of depressing shit.
So my friend Ryan says, Kentucky is lit with cops. Anyone who goes through knows they're literally like every mile, every strip mall, etc. No one messes around in Kentucky.
That's true. It's been a while since I've driven through Kentucky, but I do.
Which is really ironic because you would think KY you could just slide right through. That's,
Right.
Hey,
I love it. Drink to that.
That wasn't so much
that
a dad
joke. That
joke.
was so good.
Not
that
so
was
much
like
a dad
the
joke.
best.
It was more of a dirty uncle joke.
I was about to say dad joke, and I was like, it's not a dad joke, though.
Not a dad
it's
joke.
A little bit. Yeah, it's a dirty uncle joke.
That's your dirty uncle.
Or more of a
Thank
daddy
you for
joke.
the
Not necessarily a dad joke, but more of a daddy joke.
Dirty
That's
uncle information. DUIs.
Good spanking.
Good spanking.
Who doesn't like a good spanking, right?
It's the great ironies of life. The older, as you get older, you start to like look forward to the things you hated as a child, like naps and spanking, and
I do love naps and spanking.
Works for me.
And food, being fed. I love that too.
Hey,
yeah.
That's a real thing as well. But no, I mean, like I do. I hope, and I do. I hope that people are safe. I hope that if people do choose to go out, they realize that the staff that is there has been through the exact same shit, if not more so than you have, over the course of the past 3 months. And you know what? Tip like the bartender is your crush from high school that still looks that hot and winked at you like that.
Please.
Yeah.
Please. And don't make us bend over backwards. We got to work with masks on and shit, It's like, it's not easy coming back. A lot of us did not collect unemployment,
Well, a lot of the, so like a lot of the places that are doing the table service outside, they've created the outdoor patios and that kind of stuff. Dude, and have your shit together and have your order ready and order everything at once. Like, don't make them come back to the table because, oh, wait, you know what? I forgot I wanted a water too. Or, hey, now I want a drink. And then because they got to run back inside every time. And again, according to regulations, every time they touch stuff,
they're supposed to
make
wash
a run.
A door handle.
No, there's or replace their gloves. So that's a giant pain in the ass on top of everything else. So just, be mindful of the living force and don't be.
Also, some places we're used to having the silverware on the bar already.
Yeah.
And now we're going to have to bring it out. So if they forget your silverware and stuff, like, don't be an ass about it. Just be like, hey, I just need some silverware. Yep. It's really not worth giving them a hard time. Like, these people have to go in and out. They have to change their gloves. They have to like sanitize every time. Yep. And not to mention, just in general, running your server or your bartender, running them ain't cute.
No.
Doing that before COVID wasn't cute.
Well, don't be surprised. Yeah, don't be surprised if there are no limes. Don't be surprised if there are no garnishes, because that's another contact contamination point. So know that
I wouldn't want any kind of limes or garnish. And
no,
if you flag my drink, I don't want it.
Yeah, and not only that, but like I know I've seen this mostly in conjunction with restaurants, but some bars may be doing it too, where they've added a COVID surcharge as a percentage on your bill, and just be aware that that might be. I've seen a lot of places either put it on the menu or they put like a placard on the table to let you know about it. But just be aware that that's out there, and it's not that they're trying to screw you. It's that like right now the supply chain is so screwed up, like, especially for restaurants. Like I just read, in fact, that's on our list for tonight, beef prices just skyrocketed.
I was about to say 10%. The cost of meat has gone up quite a bit.
Grocery bills in general went up like 4.5% over the course of the past 2 months. Because like meat packing plants had to get shut down, because of, employee outbreaks and that kind of stuff. So, I mean, like, it's a real thing, not to mention the fact that they were closed for 3 months and they're trying to keep their employees gainfully employed, and they're trying to do all this, all this shit. So yeah, just take a pill. If you're going out, do so in the
Please.
knowledge that you're going out in a weird time, and either be prepared for that or stay the fuck home.
We're all trying to figure it out at the same time.
We are. If you're a server or bartender out there, my heart goes out to you. You know, we're not working yet, but we will be soon. But do your best to try and remember everything that you need. And when you're at a table and somebody orders something, be like, can I get anybody anything else while I'm at it?
Dude,
like,
again,
I'm going now.
Pretend you're
Tell
dealing
me
with
right
your kids.
now. If
Are
you
you
just
sure?
communicate with people,
Are you sure you don't want anything? Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you
sure? Okay. Because
Once I sit down, I'm not coming back.
Don't make me pull this table over.
I'm dropping off the shit that you ordered, and that's
We'll
it.
turn this bar around.
Everybody love everybody. Just everybody love everybody. We start being a little bit nicer to each other and slow the fuck down on the freeways. Good God, it's not that serious.
For sure.
Just don't get it.
We'll do one more cheers, and then
One more cheers.
I'm gonna tell everybody how to reach us.
Tink.
Reach us.
Like Long Island or something?
Yeah.
What are you drinking? Is that Jaeger and Red Bull?
Yeji and Mountain Dew.
Yeji and Red Bull.
No,
Okay.
Mountain Dew.
If you work at a bar and you want to be on our podcast, just message us.
Hell yeah.
If you don't work at a bar, or you do work at a bar, we don't give a fuck what you do, actually. If you just hang out at bars, if you want to tell us a story about the time that you had out and about, we would love to hear it. Please send us an email at barsidetales@gmail.com and check us out on Facebook and like our Instagram and all the things.
All the stuff. All the virtual stuff. We love you guys.
We love you guys so much. Bye.
Cheers.
All right, there goes the live